Okay, so on your paper, the first thing that we're going to be using is our drawing and our sketching piece set that we have here. So when you open it, oh, you can say I already started playing with mine. You have what's called a kneaded eraser. And what's nice about the kneaded eraser is that it just never gets dirty. The nice part is whatever you end up with it that you go to use, all you do is you pull it and you fold it over and you keep pulling, and eventually it cleans itself. So it is the never ending eraser. And that's what's so nice about these kneaded erasers, is that they literally clean themselves, and they're really nice about picking up your pencil and even using it for, just erasing or blending. You can use this. So they just never really die. They're fabulous, and I've always enjoyed mine, especially with charcoal. So I can show you in a little bit mine from years past, and just show you how much it just handles everything. So that's where your kneaded eraser came from. And you've got your blending sticks, which we're going to practice with, and we're going to stay away from the charcoal for right now, and we're just going to use our different pencils. So it starts off with the H's, and H's on the pencils, as you'll see, like this here says a 3H, is hard. And then the B's, which you can see go all the way this way, goes up to the 5B, which is your last one here. And that one is the hardest that we have in this set. I know 6B is a really good hard one. Soft one. The darkest that we get is what I was trying to say. So the H's are the hards and the B's are the soft. And as you play with it, you'll learn just how each of them feel. The point is that they have a little bit of, the graphite and then clay. So the harder ones here, the H's, are the ones that have more clay. So they don't come off as soft as you can see this one. This is where, it would come off on your finger, whereas the other one, it's barely going to come off. What we're used to in the classroom is using a number 2 pencil. And a number 2 pencil, the closest one you're going to get to that, of what you're familiar with using, is going to be what's called the HB. So what I want you to do first is, using that HB, you're just going to make a line across the top with an arrow. And then what you're going to do is, using each one of these, just draw a little square, shade it in, do a little squiggle above it, and then number it for me. So this one here says 3H, so I'm going to write 3H. And then you're going to do the same with each of them until you have them all here. So once you have done that, you can proceed with the video. Now, what I wanted to show you is, when I was in college, one of the things that I ended up getting was called one of these art bins. So what you do is you open up, and what I have in here to show you is my lovely kneaded eraser. So you can see in my kneaded eraser has a ton of chalk on it, and charcoal and everything else. It's really filthy. But when I go to use it, all I have to do is just stretch it and keep folding it over and over again, and it gets white and clean and nice. So you saw how dark it was, and it literally will take everything off my fingers. It's just a really nice thing. Okay, so the next part is, I just want you to write kneaded eraser and just make a quick little square. And what you're going to do is, I just want you to see the difference. So now that we've practiced above with the different shades, just kind of in this square, play with, one of the hard pencils. So in my hand, I have a 3H, and then go in and take maybe like the 5B, which is really soft. I know the 6B is really super soft if you get like a true extension that goes across, but 5B is great. So you can see the drastic difference between the lighter and the darker. And then I just want you to play with your kneaded eraser. So play with like just dabbing it, play with blending it a little bit, or really trying to erase it. So it's nice that you can see the difference, and you can see it's on here, and all you need to do is just kind of pull it and fold it over, and that cleans your kneaded eraser, which is really nice. So you can always go in and you could just grab it off like that. It's more of just you playing with the eraser itself and seeing also that the lighter the pencil, the easier it comes off. The darker the pencil that you use, the softer, I should say, like the level B's, the harder it is to come off. So you can see that drastic difference there. Now comes the fun part. So I would like you to take out your HB pencil, okay? And we're gonna practice shading a sphere. So the first thing I want you to do is you could just draw a circle. And if you're worried about not making a perfect circle, you can also go and take anything that you have around the house that has a circle-ish bottom. Like here, I happen to have tacky glue next to me. So if I really wanted to, I could put that on here and I could just trace around it. You could do it with a glass, anything that's easiest for you. So now that you have your circle, just try to give it a kind of where we would have the shadow, okay? And then I want you to help yourself with, this is where my light is coming from. So you draw yourself a little sun, okay? Now that we have our little sun, let's think about areas of darkness as the light is coming this way. This is going to be the brightest, right? So we're going to make sure that we have a little bit of an area right here. So I kind of do a arc. That's my sun, okay, the brightest spot. Then I'm going to have another area that's going to get a little bit darker. And then I have another area that's going to get medium maybe and darker. And this is probably going to be my darkest spot, right? So let's think, we probably want this to be our 5B, if we really want to play with that. And then maybe we could jump to maybe a 3B here. And then we can maybe go into a B here. And we can go into maybe a 2H, right? So we'll play with using our different pencils and shading in this sphere. So using my 5B, that's always the easiest. There's a couple ways. You could do it the back and forth way, and you don't have to push hard because it's really nice and soft. Or you can do it holding your pencil this way. It's completely up to you and how you feel comfortable using your pencils. And you could always go over a little bit, but you want this to be your darkest area. So you just kind of make sure that the edge is nice and dark, right? And then the next area is going to be my 3B. So usually we use this process when we're using a regular pencil, as you know, where we're pushing harder and then we're pushing softer. The idea with these pencils is that it helps you with that transitions early. So you don't have to push as hard, and you also get darker and lighter colors than you can with a simple one. So right now, you know, we're just starting with the easy blends, and then that's when you go back in with the details a little bit more. So you see you're just pushing softer, and you're following the curve that you created. You never want to go back and forth because that'll take the illusion away. So this is still really dark, but I wanted you guys to have an experience using the different pencils and getting an idea of what you're looking for. And then I said, let's jump to the 2H. Okay. I know I wrote that darker on here. Okay, so you can see the transition here. And this is where you can then and I know we'll play with that. You can use these blending sticks, and what's cool about these blending sticks is you can blend them really nicely going over it like that. What does happen is it smooths it out a lot. But you can always go in and fix up any of those lines or areas that you want. So instead of your finger, you just have your blending stick, right? So now that I have that done a little bit more, maybe I want to just kind of bring that over it a little bit, and I want to re-darken some areas. So that's the thing about the pencils, is you kind of start off with an easy area of what you want, and then you go in and you can readjust it. Again, I don't want you to spend a lot of time. This is more you're exploring your pencils and getting a feel for how they work. Okay. All right, and it'd be the same thing going the other way. You know, pushing it darker here. Maybe I'm gonna push my 5B a little bit darker. And then I'm gonna work my way out more. Or maybe you just think, oh, you know what, Miss Holland, I want to try using the same pencil and using my blending sticks a little bit more. Sure, you can easily do that. So I got my 5B here. Maybe I'm going to use the 4B. Play with the different directions if you want. Okay. And I easily could grab my blending stick and I could just blend what I have up here and pull, kind of make it this way, and get that neat look. Gives you that fuzzier look, but it works. Okay. All right, so now that you've got your shaded spear, just your idea of playing with your sticks, the last part that I just want you to play with is your blending sticks area. So we kind of tapped into that a little bit. You'll notice the softer it is, using the B's are soft, the easier it is to blend it. So if I just put my, on the side here, use the 5B, could push nice and hard with the 5B and go down, and then I take my blending stick. Again, you've got two different sizes. You have a skinnier one, and then you have a nice big fat one. So the fatter one, you can play with that where you do the whole thing, and you see how quickly that moves it. You could also play with the number 2, and that's like smaller, so you could play with just a side of it. You can see how it moves it across. It's just nice when you play with it. Now, you're probably wondering, what do you do when it gets hard, really dark, and you want to get some of that off? That's where you use like the sandpaper, those little things, but you're not going to get too much. I mean, that's easy stuff that you could just kind of scrape off, but that's typically what you use. So play with it. Play with the hardness, and just see what you think with all of these. Is it easier to do it with the harder pencils? This is my hardest pencil here. What works the best? Does it even blend that? Take a clean side and see if you can get it to blend it. Do you like that? Would you want to leave some areas? So just kind of play around and see what you like with your pencils.